Look at the stock market today, and you'll see green arrows violently pushing to new record highs, riding win streaks we haven't seen in years. But if you step away from the trading screens and talk to a normal person, you'll hear a completely different story. Wall Street is throwing a party over strong corporate profits. Meanwhile, the average American is looking at their bank account and realizing their paycheck buys significantly less stuff than it did 5 years ago. There is a massive, widening gap between what the market is quoting and what people are actually experiencing. To understand why that gap exists, we have to look thousands of miles to a narrow waterway between Iran and Oman, the Strait of Hormuz. Every single day, 20% of the global oil supply passes through this specific geographical choke point. Every credible threat to shipping in that corridor puts immediate upward pressure on the price of crude oil. A disruption in that single body of water doesn't stay localized. It triggers a physical chain reaction that crosses the ocean and eventually extracts cash directly from your wallet. When you combine high oil prices with a slowing economy, you get a rare economic condition called stagflation. This happens when the cost of living keeps rising, but businesses stop growing and wages stagnate or fall. The last time the United States faced serious stagflation was the 1970s. Back then, severe oil shocks drove up inflation while the stock market got cut in half. To map out how a modern version of that destroys personal wealth today, we have to look at the exact mechanics of how rising oil prices physically alter human spending behavior. The most immediate consequence of a global oil spike hits the highway. Diesel fuel becomes instantly more expensive to pump into commercial trucks. That higher fuel cost acts as a strict physical penalty on domestic logistics. It forces corporations like Walmart to spend significantly more money just to move produce from a farm to a warehouse and finally to your local store. Those corporations don't absorb the loss. They rewrite the price tags. The cost to move the goods is passed directly to the consumer, making basic necessities like groceries and even the fertilizer needed to grow future crops more expensive to buy. These compounded supply chain costs function as a hidden, inescapable tax. It systematically drains the average consumer's baseline purchasing power, dollar by dollar. When wages fail to keep up with that hidden tax, people adapt. They cut back on luxuries, and they start bridging the gap between their income and their survival expenses with credit cards. This chart tracks total United States credit card debt over the past decade. Look at the right side. That vertical spike represents Americans shattering all previous historical records for credit card borrowing, just to keep their heads above water. If consumers are tapped out and swiping cards just to buy groceries, they aren't buying extra goods. When discretionary spending stops, corporate profits drop. Businesses halt their expansion plans, close stores, and eventually begin letting employees go. In a standard economic slowdown, the Federal Reserve has a reliable playbook. They step in and cut interest rates to make borrowing cheaper, which encourages people to buy houses and businesses to invest. But high oil prices are keeping inflation artificially hot. If the Fed cuts interest rates now, they risk pouring gasoline on the inflation fire and causing prices to explode further. They are paralyzed. High consumer debt, rising prices, and a central bank that cannot step in to help. That specific combination of paralysis is exactly what makes stagflation so uniquely destructive to an economy. Yet, if you look back at Wall Street, the stock market seems oblivious to this macroeconomic reality. Investors are continuing to pay premium prices for stocks, acting as if the consumer is perfectly fine. This pie chart illustrates the illusion of safety in the S&P 500. When buying an index fund, you think you're getting a diversified slice of 500 companies. Instead, a staggering 35% is concentrated in just 7 massive tech firms. To see just how expensive this concentrated market has become, we can look at what is famously known as the Buffett Indicator. It simply divides the total value of the stock market by the size of the United States economy. This area chart tracks the Buffett Indicator over the last century. We are currently sitting at over 2 times the gross domestic product. That level dwarfs the market peaks of 1929 and eclipses the dot-com bubble of 2000. History leaves a very clear footprint here. Every single time valuations have reached these extreme heights, unprepared index investors have endured a lost decade, 10 years of essentially flat or even negative returns. When market corrections eventually happen, human instinct kicks in. The urge to salvage whatever cash you have left and run for the exit is overwhelming. that panic selling into a falling market mathematically locks in your losses. Retreating to cash and waiting for the dust to settle is equally dangerous. The perfect moment to buy back in usually feels like the scariest day of the year, and if you wait for the skies to clear, you will miss the market rebound completely. The solution is to remove human emotion entirely. Dollar cost averaging is a strategy where you buy a set dollar amount of investments at regular intervals, say every single month, regardless of what the financial news is screaming. When prices are high, your monthly contribution buys fewer shares. When prices crash, that exact same contribution automatically acquires more shares at a deep discount. It mechanically forces you to buy high-quality assets when everyone else is terrified. Surviving a volatile economy isn't about predicting the exact hour the market will drop. It's about relying on a disciplined, mechanical strategy that allows you to ignore the noise, sleep at night, and protect your wealth for. Right now, the Shiller P/E ratio, a metric comparing stock prices to 10 years of inflation-adjusted earnings, is sitting just under 40. The last time investors paid that much for a piece of the market, it was 1929, right before the Great Depression. Today, those extreme valuations are colliding with global instability. Escalating conflicts in the Middle East are threatening critical oil checkpoints. When oil gets expensive, transportation costs spike, keeping inflation elevated while the broader economy slows down. That painful combination is called stagflation, and it cut the stock market in half during the 1970s. Despite these warning signs, stock prices remain near record highs. For the everyday retail investor, the market feels completely detached from reality. Solid earnings reports cause stocks to drop, bad news leads to market gains, and prices seem driven entirely by internet hype and digital algorithms rather than actual business performance. When the numbers stop making sense, human psychology takes over. It is a completely natural reflex to want to sell your portfolio, salvage whatever cash you have left, and sit on the sidelines until the economic skies clear. But acting on that fear mathematically locks in your losses. If you sit in cash waiting for a safe moment to re-enter, you will miss the rebound entirely. In an environment where sky-high valuations point toward a decade of flat returns, retreating to cash ensures your wealth gets quietly eaten by inflation. The historical data shows a massive difference between reacting to the market and enduring it. Take two hypothetical investors starting in 1980. One stays fully invested through every crash. The other sells during downturns and waits in cash for positive returns before buying back in. Tracking these strategies over 45 years with a $5,000 annual contribution, the buy-and-hold investor finishes with $6.1 million. The waffler ends up with $3.6 million. The defense against poor timing is dollar cost averaging, investing set amounts regularly regardless of stock prices. This strategy removes the burden of prediction. When the market is up, your money goes to work. When it crashes, your fixed monthly contribution automatically buys more shares at a steep discount. Market turbulence is not an enemy you need to avoid. By applying mechanical consistency, you turn volatility into a tool that systematically lowers the average cost of your investments. However, simply setting up automatic payments into an index fund today carries a hidden risk. Most investors just assume an S&P 500 fund provides a highly diversified, safe basket of the American economy. Right now, that safety is an illusion. This diagram illustrates S&P 500 weighting. 35% of your money is tied up in just 7 massive tech companies, squeezing the other 493 businesses. If those tech giants stumble, they carry enough gravitational pull to drag everyone else down with them. To counter this, investors are exploring the equal-weighted S&P 500 index. Here, Apple gets the exact same weight as a regional bank. Every company receives an exact 2% allocation, mathematically forcing the fund to sell overvalued stocks and rebalance. Trusting a familiar ticker symbol is no longer enough to protect your wealth. You have to actively manage your concentration risk to ensure you aren't heavily exposed to a few top-heavy tech giants. Even with a balanced index, picking individual stocks in a hype-driven market is incredibly dangerous. It's easy to overestimate spotting bargains, anchoring to an old high, and catching a falling knife. The alternative to chasing that hype is principle-driven value investing. This requires looking underneath the broad index to find specific individual businesses that have been temporarily mispriced by the crowd. We saw the results of this discipline during the financial collapse of 2008. While the majority of the market panicked, value investors ignored the fear and purchased spectacular businesses at steep, irrational discounts. Today's target profile is very specific. You are looking for growing earnings, strong competitive advantages, and real free cash flow. Businesses whose stock prices fell simply because of general economic anxiety, not because their actual operations are failing. When the broader market loses its connection to reality, the most reliable path to profit is finding fundamentally solid businesses unfairly thrown out during everyone else's panic. The United States economy has survived 16 recessions in the last 100 years. Market crashes and economic slowdowns are not anomalies. They are standard operating procedures built into the financial cycle. A flat or falling market over the next decade will not destroy your wealth. What destroys wealth is reacting to those drops emotionally, without a mechanical strategy in place. You cannot control escalating global tariffs, the flow of oil through international straits, or what the Federal Reserve does with interest rates. The only variable you can control is your own execution. Stop refreshing the daily news headlines and agonizing over monthly account statements. Sit down, define your exact risk tolerance, and build a thoughtful financial plan that serves as your North Star when the screens turn red. Navigating a deeply overvalued market does not require outsmarting high-frequency algorithms or predicting the next tech trend. It simply requires the fierce, boring discipline to stick to your plan, letting time. We are currently watching two massive opposing forces collide. On the surface, the stock market is breaking records, but underneath, the economic ground is fracturing. We are facing escalating conflicts in the Middle East, unpredictable tariff policies disrupting global supply chains, and rising oil prices that threaten the cost of energy worldwide. If you read retail investing forums right now, the frustration is obvious. People feel like the market is completely disconnected from reality, driven entirely by hype, AI algorithms, and pure emotion, rather than actual business fundamentals. This disconnect masks a very real economic threat that we haven't seen in the United States since the 1970s: stagflation. Stagflation is a worst-case scenario where two painful things happen at exactly the same time. The economy slows down, which suppresses wages and kills job growth, while inflation simultaneously drives up the daily cost of living. If you feel anxious about putting your money into the market right now, you aren't crazy. You are just noticing that the stock market is temporarily ignoring economic gravity. To see how far we've drifted from gravity, we look at the Shiller P/E ratio. Instead of looking at a single volatile year of corporate profits, this metric measures market value against 10 years of inflation-adjusted earnings, giving us a clean picture of what investors are actually paying. Right now, that ratio sits at nearly 39 times earnings. That is the second highest reading in the entire history of the stock market. For context, right before the catastrophic crash of 1929, the Shiller P/E was only at 31. The only time it has ever been higher was at the absolute peak of the dot-com bubble in late 1999, when it hit 44. There is a second warning sign flashing, famously known as the Buffett Indicator. This is a simple calculation that divides the total value of the stock market by the entire United States GDP. During the dot-com bubble, this metric showed the market was 45% overvalued. Today, it shows we are operating at more than 115% overvaluation. This data does not mean the market is going to crash tomorrow. Markets can ignore logic and stay elevated for years, but historical data shows a clear mathematical pattern. When investors blindly overpay at these extremes, the subsequent 10 years almost always result in a lost decade, a long, painful stretch of zero returns. Faced with this risk, most people default to what feels safe, buying a standard market cap-weighted S&P 500 index fund, assuming they are getting broad diversification across the American economy. This diagram shows the reality of the S&P 500 today. Out of 500 total blocks, these 7 massive blocks currently consume nearly 35% of the entire index. Those 7 blocks represent Apple, Microsoft, Amazon, Alphabet, Meta, Nvidia, and Tesla. When you buy the index right now, you are placing a heavily concentrated bet. If the hype around artificial intelligence cools off and those tech giants stumble, they will fall hard, dragging the other 493 companies down with them. When investors realize this vulnerability, many react by doing the exact opposite. They execute the panic pivot. liquidating their portfolios to hide their money in cash. Watching your wealth drop in real time is terrifying. During the 2020 pandemic crash, the market dropped 34% in a matter of weeks. But selling in the middle of a panic mathematically guarantees you lock in those steep losses. And it almost always means you are sitting safely on the sidelines when the inevitable, rapid recovery happens. Even worse, cash has its own hidden penalty. With elevated inflation, money sitting idly in a bank account steadily loses its purchasing power every single day. Blindly buying the standard index leaves you painfully exposed to a tech-heavy correction, while hiding in cash guarantees the slow death of your money's value. There are better alternatives. You can shift your capital into an equal-weight S&P 500 index fund. Watch how this structure changes the map. In an equal-weight index, the 500 blocks reorganize so that every single company, from the biggest tech giant to the smallest regional bank, receives the exact same 2% allocation. By design, this forces the fund to automatically trim positions that have become too expensive, rebalancing your money into more reasonably priced businesses. It forces a buy low, sell high discipline. The trade-off is straightforward. To gain this stability, you have to accept that you will miss out on the euphoric, skyrocketing highs when megacap tech is booming. For those willing to do the work, there is an active alternative: principle-driven value investing. This requires high effort. You have to analyze individual business fundamentals, dig into free cash flow, and study corporate balance sheets. The goal is to find highly profitable, quality businesses whose stock prices have dropped simply because the broader market is anxious about the economy. Surviving an overvalued market requires moving away from a passive, set-and-forget mentality. You have to actively choose a strategy designed to limit your exposure to concentrated risk. The absolute foundational rule of investing is that the price you pay today dictates your returns for the next 10 years. This decision tree maps exactly how to proceed based on your personal constraints. We start by dividing investors into two paths: those who are time-poor and hands-off, and those who are time-rich and active. If you fall into this set-and-forget category and don't want to analyze stocks, you can stick to your standard index fund, but you must strictly enforce dollar-cost averaging. By investing a set amount every single month, you mathematically smooth out the risk of overpaying at the absolute market peak. If you are a risk-conscious optimizer who is worried about having 35% of your money in 7 tech companies, your next step is to direct new contributions toward an equal-weight index. This maintains your exposure to the broad market, but eliminates that top-heavy vulnerability. And finally, if you are an active analyst determined to beat a potentially flat decade, you should use this current economic volatility to your advantage. Treat the panic as a filter to actively hunt for deeply mispriced businesses that are trading for less than they are actually worth. A lost decade in the broader market only becomes your personal lost decade if you panic, or if you fail to plan. The road conditions have changed, so adjust your vehicle to match them, but whatever you do, stay invested.